All right. So we're going to be doing a deep dive into the fact that this game is now 18 years old. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, right? Now, if you did get the premium edition of this back in the day, under the extras part, you actually have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So if you're able to get hold of this is pretty cool. I believe also Shaolin Monks, I think it came with Mortal Kombat 2 from memory. So this was a good way for people that were on, like, you know, whatever platform they're on at the time to be able to access MK3 as well, which is pretty nice. But so Armageddon was the last 3D fighter, right? And we had about a 5 or so year gap from that until we got the next true authentic Mortal Kombat sequel, which was Mortal Kombat 9, right? We had MK vs DC, but you know, that was kind of just I don't really consider that a true MK game. It's just a hybrid fighter. So there was a massive gap, and a lot of people were wondering at the time, is this game actually going to go back to its roots or not? I think a lot of people were kind of done with the 3D fighter. I didn't like the 3D combat at all. I appreciate and I like the fact that, for example, in Armageddon, up until this point, we get every fighter. We get every single fighter. If you have the Nintendo Wii version, which I'll do a review one day, you actually end up with Chameleon as well as an additional fighter. But ultimately, you know, this was, up until this point, outside of Trilogy, the next full, complete roster of characters that were made available for, you know, MK fans, which is really cool, right? Now, I am running through this at emulator. This is running at 4K. Again, I've said this many times before. There's no reason whatsoever that they can't, you know, ever just simply do the same sort of thing. Just run it at 4K, right? It's going to look a lot better. Even at 1080p, it's going to look a lot better than its base resolution, and give it modern online play, and good to go. Like, just sold, right? So this was a massive roster. One of the other things too was the fact that they actually changed it from three styles or like combat styles to down to two. So we got one unarmed and one armed combat style, probably because the roster was so big that they needed to actually have the ability to, you know, spread them around. Maybe they were running a bit too thin when it came to, you know, the offerings of how many martial arts styles and weapon styles they could actually utilize, right? But that was something that they brought in with MK Deadly Alliance. Right? Deadly Alliance was, you know, the game that changed how Mortal Kombat fundamentally played. It was the first sort of schism that we got within the MK community between the people that played the 2D games versus the people that now became and fell in love with the 3D titles. Now, outside of the 3D combat, it's a pretty good Mortal Kombat game, right? We got sexy outfits for the ladies, as you can see here. They're very revealing, especially for its time. So that's really awesome. There's an alternate outfit if you press the start button on every character as well, which is pretty cool. And due to limitations when it came to apparently able to render or at least portray a four-legged creature, somehow Motaro became a two-legged clown, right? But we got him in the game, right? I don't know why they couldn't do it. You know, considering the fact that we got giant characters like Blaze and Onaga in the game, right? Obviously, the size of the character isn't an issue. It was probably coming down to the fact of how can we animate, you know, like, you know, how's a centaur going to be uppercutted and stuff like that, you know, because you got to account for essentially the horizontal body going out the back. But either way, you know, this was really great to see. I remember first seeing, I think it was like leaked. Not leaked, it was footage that Total MK actually showed on the internet back when this came out. The very first select screen, it was actually like kind of like a page, and then it would swap around to the other side for the other side of characters. But apparently there were issues with that, especially if people were playing two-player, and that was it. So it's actually a pretty good Mortal Kombat game. It is different. You know, it is different from what we had in Conquest mode to what we had in Deception. I think it was definitely a downgrade. They were certainly going for more like a 3D style beat 'em up, like, you know, like Fighting Force, that type of thing. But it's, yeah, I don't know, man. It just kind of didn't. It was nowhere near as good, right? It was just nowhere near as good, right? So, but one thing I do appreciate, like, it still feels like, you know, a Mortal Kombat game, right? Still got the blood, right? I think they introduced what was it called? Air combos as well. I'll see if I can I get him up? I'll see if I can get him up in the air. Might have to change weapons. Oh, I'll show you too. So with Scorpion, obviously it's Hapkido for unarmed combat. Again, a lot of these martial arts, this was the other thing that didn't make a lot of sense either, right? Is that some of these martial arts that they added in didn't really make sense. There we go, air combo. And the air combos were actually better in this than what we have in the current game, right? So much better, right? Yeah, so, and you had the option to knock them through stuff as well, which is cool. Plus, they also had the ability to do custom fatalities, right? Which was nice. You could cut off their arms, you know, their head, whatever you want to do. There was a whole different string tree setup to be able to go through and do all of that. But Armageddon, like I said, it was the last true MK game that we got before MK9. And MK9 was so loved for a variety of reasons, and I think that even over just after 3, people were just over the 3D combat, right? Obviously, if you grew up playing these games, this is the Mortal Kombat that you know and love. And outside of the combat itself, like, you know, it's a good Mortal Kombat game, right? There's a lot of stages in this game as well, so I know when you play through, for example, if you go through and you play on, like, just the standard tower, you don't see a lot of the stages in the actual game, right? Which is, like, really crazy. So, of course, they have my girl in here, Serena. She looks smoking hot, right? Smoking hot. So, you can actually change. So, by pressing right trigger, you can actually change. So, say if you're playing, like, you know, versus... I think you can play versus against CPU. I'd have to check. Definitely in practice. You can go through and you can choose from all of these different stages. There's a whole bunch of stages that were part of the mainline towers in, say, Deception, right? But don't actually show up in the normal tower in Armageddon, like the Sky Temple. You know, I think there's, yeah, the Nethership Interior, Meteor Storm. There's also one of my favorites, the Falling Cliffs. That's a really, really good one as well, right? So they didn't actually, they didn't actually do that in the main tower, which kind of sucked. It kind of sucked. I don't know why they did that. You know, there was that restriction on some of those stages showing up either way. But yeah, so you also had the ability to sort of swap stance. You know, so in modern MK games, there's an actual button for it. And this, you've actually got to, like, double tap back to do that, you know, to change. Obviously, you're moving in 3D movement. But, you know, they did a good job. Like, it was, you know, there were the sexy costumes and stuff like that, which is really nice. You could also, just like the previous 2 3D entries, you could immediately kill them if there was an actually death trap ring or section of the actual map itself. But they did a good job. But yeah, you only had the two combat stances, unarmed and armed combat as well. So, you know, that's fine. Like, it is what it is. You know, it's again, like, one of the reasons why I think also MK9 was so loved is because we moved away from all of this gimmick stuff, right? They added in the X-ray, sure, as, like, technically the true proper implementation of a super, although you could argue that what was it called? The aggressor mode showing up in Mortal Kombat Trilogy was the first time they ever added in some sort of, like, build-up enhancement type, like power bar, if you will. But the X-ray was that it. We didn't have any sort of armed combat, you know, abilities. It was just, combat stance. It was just that. Now, just briefly, just to show you quickly, I'll just show you what Conquest and Mortal Kombat look like. And then, of course, the Creator Fighter, which we never got back, which really sucks. See, I'm not a big fan of gear pieces. I would ultimately prefer that we had just standard skins, right? But you can create your own fighter, and with that create your own fighter, you have all of these gear pieces. You can go to town. You take that fighter online and play against different people, so that makes it all fresh as well, right? But ultimately, this was the change with the conquest mode. It definitely felt so. Obviously, in yeah, I know. Thank you for that. Yep, thank you. So, obviously in conquest mode, in this one, it's a beat 'em up style, right? You can actually do attacks. In conquest and deception, you could do a singular punch, like you could attack an NPC, maybe engage in a fight, but the fight would always go into like a, the standard, fight available, right? But in this particular mode, it is just like, when there's bad guys that show up, you beat them in real time. You don't go to some specific fight scene and whatnot. So it's not bad. Like, it's definitely a different take. But you would think that after the incredible success of Deception's conquest mode, that they would, essentially do another one, right? That's what I thought they would do, right? But it's serviceable, this sort of focuses on the story of Tagan and Dagon, I think it is. I always never get those names right. That's why I'm always confused, right? And so that was kind of cool as well. Like, I didn't mind that too much. Now, when you're fighting against actual characters from in-game, you've actually got like this particular like setup for a fight here as well, right? Which is, it's fine. It's all right. I didn't even know this dude's moves. He's using Gold Dragon. What's his other stance? Oh, look at that sword. Drake sword. So, and it'd be cool actually to see these characters come back. I was always hoping that MK1 would be like an Armageddon game. In the modern day, so we get every MK character up until that point. But unfortunately, no, we're not getting it. At least not at the moment. And that sucks. Because I think sometimes, I think there's a huge amount of characters that are, massive favorites for fans of Mortal Kombat out there. And, having them all show up in a game and you being able to choose, I think would be very cool. I think it would be very cool indeed. They also had things like traps and stuff as well. This definitely looks a lot better in HD. Definitely a lot better in HD. 100%. Right? But yeah, like, I'm just trying to get to some, I won't worry about that. I want to find some bad guys. I think this might be, is this a save point? Is it possibly? I don't know. Not sure. Okay, alright. Apparently I got a... so now it's teaching you how to play the game. So obviously, like, this is the Fighting Force style thing where, when you're running around, you'll be doing this, against just like standard NPC bad guys, right? Which is fine, And look, it's solid combat. It's not bad. But it's not as memorable as Deception's conquest mode, right? It definitely wasn't. Okay. So anyway, so let's have a look at Mortal Kombat, because I know something that they really went to town with in these 3D era games, especially obviously with Deception, with Puzzle Combat and Chess Combat, and also the where's Scorpies? Where is he? There he is. Puzzle Combat, Chess Combat, and of course Mortal Kombat. These mini games are a lot of fun, especially if you're able to play them online, right? I've talked about this before, that fighting games in this day and age should have things to do outside of the standard fighting, right? Try and keep you engaged inside of the, the actual game itself. So that way when you're sick of fighting, you can load up some Mortal Kombat, and have some fun that way, right? And again, like, looking at this, is, like I said, is running in 4K. It's all nice and smooth. Fixes up all the aliasing issues. and this would be fantastic. Imagine playing this online, you know, with all your mates and stuff and family in this day and age. That'd be superb, right? That'd be so good. But you know, money on the table, baby. That's you know, they're obviously allergic to money, which sucks. But so yeah, so Mortal Kombat had a few stages. Obviously, it had a small bunch of the characters available, basically all the sort of favorites or the main cast of like MK type characters, and that's, you know, but it's a good mode. Like, it was obviously their take on Mario Kart, and they did a really good job. You know, we had Puzzle Combat, which was obviously I can't get online. We got the Crypt, so obviously we got the Crypt that was introduced in Deadly Alliance. Now it's not a crypt like what we got in MK9, where you're going from each one. This is just simply just, you know, you come into a crypt area, which is like one big chamber, and you can view all of this stuff that's available to you. Everything from artwork, I think there's music, you know, media. It's probably under there as well, and that's really cool. Like, that is, you know, like, that is really cool. This is for those that, you know, want to come back and look into the deep, rich history of the creation of these games. You're going to find a lot of this sort of content in there. So I do appreciate that. Now the creator fighter, I think, was a real gem of this game, right? Because it was such an intricately detailed mode that you can create so many types of characters. There's my character that I made. You can go in and you can change the appearance. You got body type, one and well, gender, male and female, because, you know, we're not dealing with that woke rubbish, right? You got presets as well. You can change the size of your character as well. Then you can like change the head, hair, all sorts of stuff. You can change even like helmets, right? You know, all this sort of shit. It's just, there's so much detail, man. Well, I put a trench coat on this guy, but you got lots of stuff, right? There's so much stuff that you can do. You can really go to town and make your own character, and I love that. You know, there's so much choice, and this is what I would advocate for a future MK game. Don't worry about gear pieces anymore. Just give us skins for the characters, just standard outfits, go to town, but take all of that gear piece and just ram it into a creator fighter in the modern day. Imagine the crazy stuff we're going to come up with. Now, they have a creator character type fighter thing in the World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6, and that's pretty good. But this would be the next step, where you could take this character and then take them online as well. And I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be so cool to be able to do. It'd just be fantastic. And of course, you can change all the colors as well, right? You can change all the colors of everything, so that way you can completely outfit your character however you want. You got all the different fighting styles as well, so you can have, I named the style named Gimp. You can change it to whatever you want. You got presets and different stances that you can change as well. You can also choose the type of moves that you want, like even just for standard basic attacks. And then you got the weapon style as well that you can do as well, which is really nice, right? So you choose the weapon, you choose like what attacks you want, and then you can do the special moves, right? So you can choose from a variety of special moves that you want to have on each particular button. So if you want flame on square, a flying kick on X, a spear on triangle, or a teleport punch, you can do it. There is so much variety here, man, right? Then you got the actors. I don't know why I must be a small male when I made this. I don't know. I was, you know. But anyway, so you got all the different voices in here that we're gonna change that. We're gonna change. Actually, I'll leave it later, because then I've got to go back and change the stupid color for all this crap, right? You can change the victory stance as well, which is cool. Which is nice, all right. And then you can even like add a biography. You can actually have a custom biography for your character as well, right? So that's massively in-depth mode, which is really, really awesome, right? And then you got your standard arcade. You got your I just want to see in versus mode if it actually can just be a single CPU. I don't think it can be. No, it's not. Okay, that's fine. Right. So just you'd have to just go into practice or whatever. But yeah, no, they've done a really, really good job in terms of like getting every character in there. Obviously, some characters like we missed. I was missing some special moves. For example, characters like Reptile. You know, we never got like his Force Ball back. You know, like there was some key special moves that some of the characters were missing that I really wanted to return, like his Force Ball. And I think too at the time, like they had gone in this massive, like in Deadly Alliance, he was just basically a lizard. So by the time we got in Armageddon, I think they realized that people want the ninja style look for Reptile. Even if you can still see the Reptile features, we still want that, you know, we still want that, you know, that sort of standard ninja. So we got obviously like the what do you call it? The classic Deadly Alliance outfit that they had right in there. But ultimately, there's no like, you know, there's no Force Ball, man, and it sucks. And look at this stage, like this is Shao Kahn's arena. There's like 4 different, I think there's 4 different death traps that are available that you can do, which is awesome. This is the sort of stuff when I talk about that, yes, you could do this in a 2D environment, and I'll put out many ideas about how you could do that. This is the sort of stuff that should come back, right? Because this is Mortal Kombat, not all the gore porn and stuff like that. This is the Mortal Kombat that, to me, really makes it feel like, you know, they're sort of taking it to the next level, but not in a horror-themed way, but more in a sort of like, how can we make our stage fatalities more dangerous? Well, what if we made the stage fatalities in such a way that they were, what do you call it? What's her alternate outfit? I can't remember. There's the MK Deception Melina skin. What was the, what was it? Yeah, like the making the stage fatalities where you got multiple levels you can go down, then you can also kill them at the same time. So that's a nice evolutionary step, right? But in the NRS era ones, they just put in crap like, oh, you can bounce off stuff. I never liked that. That's not Mortal Kombat, right? So while I don't really like the 3D style combat, because Ed Boon, him and his love of Tekken type games, decided to, you know, make it in a 3D fighter. I've been told, apparently, because that's what they felt like they had to do to keep up with everyone else. Never liked it, but everything else around that still feels like Mortal Kombat, right? They also introduced, obviously, like I showed you guys, the creator fatality as well, which was a nice addition too. I'd love to have both. I'd love to have where you have both in there. What's her special? Oh my god, I can't even remember her special move. What have we got? Okay, alright, fine, that's it. There we go, right. So, very, very wonderful outfit by Melina too. So, actually, let's see if I can knock him over here. Hang on. No, don't move out of the way. We also got breakers. You can see there at the health bars, you've actually got breakers. So you can actually combo break. Not after like 3 hits, you can actually do it immediately, right? But you get 3 per fight. And that was great. Like they took that into account too, apart from obviously moving in 3D. You also had a parry move that you could do too. So apart from the breaker, you actually had a parry move, which was essentially like a deflection. I'll see if I can, I'll try and remember how to do it. I think I know how to do it. Right, I think it was just forward and block. Was it, or was it back? Oh, there we go. It was back and block, right? So that was a parry move. So if they attack, you can like turn the tables on them as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, like, I mean, there was some really good defensive options that they put into this game too, which is really nice, right? And I don't know, I just kind of felt like they just, I don't know, I just feel like, you know, when they weren't sort of like trying to cater to esports, it felt like we actually were getting, you know what I mean? Like we were getting a really good Mortal Kombat game. You know, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. But yeah. Oh, go off the, she don't want to go off the edge. See how she keeps moving away? She don't want to go off the edge. I'll see if I can bait her. Maybe come. Oh no, I baited myself. Great stage, like great fatality in general anyway. But yeah, so I'd like to have it so that if they brought back Creator Fighter, you'd have two, like you could have standard fatalities. You have also an option to do a creative fatality, not creative fighter. Bring back creative fighter as well. Bring back the mini games. But imagine this game, right? Imagine this game being brought out on a collection, right, with modern online gameplay, and you can go in and play this stuff online. That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Truly. I'd love it. It'd be so good. So it's been 18 years, boys and girls. Right? Obviously, like I said, there was a generation of MK fans that grew up with this particular 3D era. This was essentially the magnum opus of that. Before we had to wait 5 or so years. What was this? Was this 2006 or 2005? Where we got this? And I think it was 2006 because it was about 5 years until 2011, you know, when MK9 came out. So, but I would love to see this come back in a collection with both Deadly Alliance and Deception and Shaolin Monks, and, you know, give people what they want, right? In fact, I'd probably put the Wii version in there, or at least have the Wii version as well as, because obviously the Wii version comes with Female Chameleon, and you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on characters when it comes to that, unless they, you know, like, yeah, like that would be what I do. And like I said, also, just for the finalize, oh, sorry, my bad. Under the extra section, if you got the premium one, you actually had access to Ultimate MK3, which is really cool. So that also gave us a classic. I'll just load that up quickly, so you guys can check that out. I believe it's just the arcade. It's just the arcade ROM, you know. And I think it was also in one of the Midway collections as well. So they probably just ripped it from that, to be honest. Because I just saw the logo, I'm like, yeah, I'd have to check the collection to see what that was. But no, this is pretty good. It's good to have this in here as well. And again, I do the same as well. I would have these all back, just as is. And it's great. It's just great to sort of, you know, go back and play these old games. But it's also sad because it's, you know, we've missed out on a lot. You know, we really have missed out on a lot when it comes to Mortal Kombat, right? And it sucks because there is so much heart. Even like I said, I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of the 3D fighting, but oh, I like that. Nice. Never used much of Kung Lao back in the day, but he's definitely the better Kung Lao in this than he is in MK1. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, right? Where's my run button? There it is. Oh, and yeah, there we go. I was playing some MK1 earlier to finish the invasions, and I hate. That's the other thing too. Like, that's the other thing as well that they changed with the 3D era is that they changed the buttons. It used to be high punch, high kick, low punch, low kick. Then they changed it to front punch, back punch, you know, front kick, back kick. Hated it. Hated it. And of course, if you go into the move list, right, and they kept it too, or at least in the home console versions, it was just the assigned button, right? Or I think they used to call it like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But now it's like, I think it was MK9 onwards, they changed it to that. I'd have to double check, but like, either way, whatever they changed it to is rubbish. It should have always been the if we go into options, I'll quickly show you. It should have always stayed at high punch, high kick, low punch, low kick, right? So now, yeah, so it's for attack, it says 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, it was about taking away the little things that make Mortal Kombat. And it never reverted. It never reverted when we got MK9, right? It just made it worse, right? So let me know what you guys think of Armageddon. What are your memories? We really need to have these games come back. We really need to have these games come back. for all generations to be able to try out and play. Give them all online and you'll just make a huge amount of money. Guaranteed. Anyway, guys, catch you next time.